Hey, everybody. Welcome back to the Ground Up Podcast. I am one of your hosts. This is Terry Barga, and over here is...
Hello, Roy Mangrum.
And yes, we did call each other and match our shirts. I was going to change, but I just thought it was kind of funny, and we probably...
It's almost like a uniform.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, you made the shirt, and it's really soft.
It's
So,
soft.
and it's black, and I love black, so...
You guys.
You made it really
And
awkward.
your softness.
And
Nashville fit.
and we're sitting next to Mark Wilkerson.
Another
Who's
softy.
also wearing a soft shirt.
Bunch of soft.
I'm so glad we're on video now. I can feel your shirt.
It's a soft fiber.
It is a soft fiber.
Yeah.
Who made that shirt?
It's velvet.
I don't want to talk about it.
Well, I thought it was Roy, so I guess
No,
we'll keep
Roy.
moving.
No.
We'll keep moving.
Move on.
I'm now in charge of his apparel.
By next
Yes,
week, I
yes.
should have a shirt that I could wear. You can just put it over this.
Yeah, well, I
Yes,
like
the
that.
yellow crop top. That's what I want to see him in.
Well, Mark, I got a lot of questions for you, and
I don't have a lot of answers, but I can give you information.
well, if we can fake it for the sake of the camera and the recording, we also like to point out this is the most unprofessional podcast around. That's actually our
Yes.
tagline. So, Ground Up Podcast.
The most most unprofessional podcast.
Yeah.
I'm so glad that I'm a guest on this show.
Yes.
This is my environment.
This is really a warm up for a lot of people who are trying to level up.
We're
Yeah.
just
And we're just a
testing-
step.
Yeah,
you know,
just
they
testing.
just step on us.
Yeah.
The cool thing is it's only up from here.
It's
Right.
only up from here. That's right.
Well, my wife, I told her at lunch that I was coming to do this podcast with you, and she was so jealous because the only other podcast I've ever been on in my life is her podcast, and she was like, "But you're not allowed to do another podcast." And I was like,
Contractually,
well, yours,
I am.
Yeah. I was like, well, yours is about what women like, and I was actually offended that you had me on it. So, I said, but I do promise you, if you open your own fit magazine,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
I'll be a guest.
You could have brought her on.
Yeah. I don't know what she would have to offer though.
I'm sure we'd find some angle.
Yeah.
Well, let's go all the way back, Mark. I know you've got a music background. I would like to, let's just start with the footnotes.
All right.
So I know that you,
I was born on September 6th,
Yeah, that's a little too far back.
1977.
but when did you start? When did
I
you
was
start?
9 pounds.
Hey, me too. Hey, look at that. When was your birthday?
September 6th.
No, mine's, happy birthday. I wished you happy birthday. I
Yeah,
remember
you
this
did.
now. Mine's next month. Anyway,
And you're 77?
79. Yeah, you're old.
So I messed you up, and now I messed you up.
That's okay. Wait,
Don't
you
ask.
just made
Are
me
you-
older.
Are you 77 too?
No, 76.
76.
I just didn't want. It was like you're going to come out and say 1985, and I was. Oh, Jersey Mike's and the Jackhammer.
You're kidding me.
Like,
Oh, this is great.
Abby, do you want to go say like how
Give
much
us
of this are we going to be doing
Can you
today?
say give us an hour, maybe?
And I say, go in there and say, can we shut it down?
So we'd like to welcome in our next guest, Woody Woodpecker. Come on in. Yes.
Literally, they have not done this once.
What are the odds of that?
Yeah.
And we're back.
And we're back after the abrupt interruption from the jackhammer next door that Mark did not warn us about. I literally thought that was your speakers.
Yeah, I did too.
How's it?
That would have been right for us to have like an audio like casualty in here, and like our classes this afternoon would be like, sorry guys, no music. But we do have the jackhammer next door to keep you on pace.
Yes. It's
kinda
a
like
metronome.
Kind of like metronome. Hey, that's a great tie-in.
Yeah.
Back to Mark.
Back
back
to
to
music.
Yeah.
So tell me, let's go over your musical career for a hot second. Tell us how you got into music, and then when and why you got out.
So music was always a huge part of my life. I did it casually, like just growing up. I had a guitar. I never learned how to play it really. I just would turn it on and make loud noises, and then I got into the drums, and that's what I really wanted to do. Is I want to be a drummer. So I played drums all through high school, and then I could never find anyone to be in the band with me that could sing or that could play the
other
guitar,
things.
do
It's
the other
very
things.
difficult.
So you just kind of learn to do all of them. So then whoever you can't find, you do that one.
Yeah.
So got to college. I went to college to play football, and then my body said no.
It rejected your aspirations.
God was like, hey, buddy, I'm gonna keep breaking bones until you stop. So he's like, you can rehab and you can get in the best shape of your life, but I'm gonna break another one. So so football is not your calling. And I loved it. I mean, I still say to this day, like, football was, if I could go back, you know, obviously I wouldn't abandon my family or anything, but if I got an opportunity to go back and do one thing over again with no guarantee of success and give up everything that I've ever accomplished, I would do that. Like, just loved it that much. And but I did come to realize that it was not in the cards. So I actually, when I was recuperating from a broken leg, I started really getting into the guitar. I started like really figuring out how to play it, and so I started writing music, and but I joined a cover band, and we played all over the Southeast, and we're doing fraternities and a lot of college weekend stuff, and started making a pretty good amount of money doing that. So I never went back to school. I quit and got a job. And if my son's listening right now, I'll send this to him because I want him to know that this is kind of the limbo that he's in. I went to school and figured out I didn't want to go to school.
Sure.
And then I got a job that could afford me the ability to quit school and pursue my music. So I did. I got a job and moved back home, not into my parents' house. Mason.
Is this thing on? Check 1, 2.
So yeah, then I was working during the day and writing music, and I didn't really know how to do. Not a lot of connections in South Alabama to the music industry. So
Yeah.
I actually had the foreman. I mean the owner of the construction company that I was a foreman for. He borrowed my car one day, and in my glove box or my center console, I had a demo tape in there, and he just popped it. It was a tape.
I remember.
Yeah.
Remember the days.
It was a tape. 4-track recording. And he heard it, and he was like, he called me, and we had lunch, and he's just like, man, he's like, we got to do more of this. And I was like, what are you talking about? Like, what are we talking about?
Yeah.
We got to do some more of this. So anyway, he's like, yeah, so look, this is what we're going to do. You can work some for me, but I really want you to focus on writing music. And
Who is this guy?
He was just as it turned out, I don't want to talk bad about him because it ended poorly, but he took a chance on me back then, and he had a lot of great ideas, and he was a hype man.
Yeah.
He could, what did Tommy Boy say? He could sell a.
You can you can get a good look at a T-bone by sticking your head up a butcher's ass. Or wait,
that's a good. That have to be your bull.
I did it backwards. Wait, that's your butcher. No, okay, wait. Okay.
No, it was the other one about he could sell a ketchup popsicle to a lady in white gloves.
White gloves, yes.
Yeah, so that's what this guy was, and he'd say things that were so obnoxious and embarrassing, but he got it. He got us, took us from just a hee-haw little cover band, and then we recorded our own music, and then got us a record deal.
Just pretty crazy.
It is because he had no experience.
Yeah.
He was just
He talked his way up the chain.
Yep. And he got up to New York and got in front of all these record executives and in his cowboy outfit and was like, listen, I'm not taking no for an answer.
That's so cool, though.
That's the kind of thing, and it was really good. And then it all of a sudden, after that, he kind of thought, well, if I did that with them, I could do it with a lot of people. So then he started trying, and it's a good idea, but I don't think he realized how lucky he got.
Yeah.
So he thought he had the magic touch. So then it became a Ponzi scheme.
Wait, is this the guy that did the
Same guy from did NSYNC? Yeah.
No, but it's very similar. I think
similar story.
he definitely read his
I just watched
book.
that documentary.
Did he own a blimp?
No.
Okay.
No, but he did go to prison for
So very similar.
for bribing politicians.
Jeez.
So, but that doesn't really have anything to do with me. But a lot of mistakes were made. A lot of money was lost. A lot of advantage was being taken.
Sure.
So anyway, but he did. I have to give him full credit because he did bring me into the music industry as a professional. So,
Yeah.
so then we signed a deal with Atlantic Records, and we went out and we toured for, I don't know, 4 years, solid, like 200 to 250 shows a year.
Oh, that's all.
Yeah. Well, and so we were on major tours, so they only play 2-3 nights a week, and we're playing a show in between the shows.
Right.
Like,
Club gigs.
yeah, they're going from Kansas City to Chicago, but we're playing like Evansville and
Yeah.
all the small
Filling the
towns.
gaps.
Yeah,
Yeah.
because we're still trying to make money and get our name out there. So I did that for such a long time, and it was. So your question was, that's how I kind of got into it.
You gotta give us the name of the band.
Course of Nature. So it was we never really caught on in the major markets
Yeah.
of the world. Like we played shows in all over in LA and San Francisco and New York, but we were more of like St. Louis, Midwestern.
They played
Yeah.
y'all in where I'm from Dayton, Ohio.
Yeah,
and
Dayton, a lot of small town Ohio. We played a ton of shows up there. So that's who we were, and we did relatively good. It was a really tough time because music in 2001, 2002, 2003 was when LimeWire and Napster were hot, and people didn't know, like, if you don't know what the record business is, if you don't know that, like, every time you downloaded something, but like, people would come up to you and say, "Oh, I've downloaded your whole album," and
You're like, thanks for stealing.
yeah. Well, but you're happy that people want to listen to your music.
Yeah.
But that doesn't reflect well to the label
Yeah.
because it doesn't translate to record
Nope.
sales.
Right.
So if you come out and sell, used to, like, back in the 70s, 80s, 90s, if you came out with your first album as a baby band and sold 50,000 records, that was great.
Right.
We came out and we sold 400,000, and it was considered a failure.
That's insane.
Really?
So, yeah, I mean, then you're just constantly, it's like the transfer portal in
Yeah.
college football now. It's like, okay, now where can we go? Like,
Right.
like you kind of lose support here. So, but then you have other people that come out and they're like, hey, we'll take over, and we'll, other labels. And so we bounced around all over the place after that. But you were surviving the time because stealing music was, I say stealing, I don't think people even really knew what they were doing. I think
Sure.
because they don't understand how record contracts work. They give you a bunch of money up front and tour support to go, but all of that money is recoupable.
Yeah.
So when you sell a record, at the time those things cost $16.99, $17, $18.99 for a CD. You go out and you're touring and you're making pennies on the dollar. So like an $18.99 CD, an artist makes like 5 cents.
Yeah.
And you have to recoup all of that. The only thing that you can really do is sell merch and stuff like live and live shows. That's touring's the only way you make money.
Yeah.
That's why you see a lot of these bands out there that have been doing it for 30, 40 years. That's how they make their money every year. They're not making any royalties off the.
Let's get on the road.
Yeah. So it's different now. I can't even imagine what it's like now.
The deals are way different now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I can't even imagine, I have friends that are still doing it, and it just, every time they come through and I go see them, I'm so thankful that that's not me.
Yeah.
Because it does feel like, I'm way too old now. I feel like it was a whole lifetime ago for me.
Yeah.
I couldn't imagine living on a bus and sleeping in a little coffin on there every night. And I did it for so long, but I also, I can't even imagine doing it now.
Yeah. Well, there's no, back in the day when you were a kid, there's hope lined in there. If we just do this for long enough, right, then.
Well, but you also thought is that, with success, you think, okay, you sign a record deal. Now you're not in the van anymore. You're on the bus. You go, okay, we made it.
Yeah.
And you were dying for that day to come to go get on that bus. And then when the day finally comes, you're like, this is great for 6 months. And then it's like, all right.
This is a prison.
I'm done. I can't be around all these people anymore.
Yeah.
You just, and that's why bands break up all the time, because it's like you're like married to, 3 other members in the band and all your crew. You're married to all of them for that long. You do everything together. Can't get it out of each other's way.
Yeah.
So
That's tough.
yeah.
So you left from music and went where? Back to construction, or
No,
what happened after that? Because I know you wrote songs for a few artists.
Yeah. So went from music once we had our split with Atlantic. I had a deal. I had a bad management deal with that guy, and I couldn't record until it got settled. Well, it took 2 years to settle.
Jeez.
So during that time, I was just writing, but I couldn't record any of it, because literally anything that was recorded, he would own part of.
Yeah.
So I had to be very careful what I did and how I did it. So a lot of stuff I would do, definitely nothing digital. Everything was like either to tape or to, some sort of device that wasn't digital.
Yeah.
So, so I did that for a little bit, and then we got picked up by another label, the Silent Majority Group, which was, do you remember, Jeff Hansen? So he was the Creed founder, and he was in that whole Florida scene with, I don't know who the NSYNC guy, but they were all the Orlando music group down there.
Cult.
Yeah. Got in with them, and it was good. I mean, we had a great album, but I had kind of lost. I had Mason, my oldest, was born in 2006, and this is 2007. And I remember I was in the studio recording an album, and I was almost like I didn't even want to be there. Like my mind was just somewhere else. I was like, I just wanted to get it done and get out.
Yeah.
And because I missed him, I missed my wife, and I'd gotten used to not being that like gone and stuff like that. So, we had a big tour opportunity after that album got finished, and I turned it down because I had so many of my friends that had missed the birth of their children because they were on the road, and I said, well, there's no way I'm letting that happen to me. So I turned down. We had a big tour, and turned it down. We said, well, we'll get on the next leg because Brady, my second child, he'll be born by then, and I'll get to spend a couple of months at home. And but things don't always work out that way.
Sure.
You plan that, we'll get on the next one. Somebody else already got it. So lost out on that. So we went on a tour on our own with a couple of other bands, and just never got off the ground with it. But the biggest problem was me. Like I was the biggest problem. I became resentful of being gone. I felt like this was taking me away from where I wanted to be.
Yeah.
So I'm on stage every night, not into it, and I'm looking out at the people out there that has paid good money to come to the concert, and I'm like, I don't even want to be here. So I don't know, it was weird. I think I just matured beyond that life.
That phase was over.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So after that, I was gone for, 3 months, and I had a 2-year-old at home and a 3-month-old, and I was just like, this is not for me anymore. So went back home and just started writing on my own. I mean, I've got from 2008 till about 2020, I don't know how many, I've just got a hard drives full of songs that I've never released or never finished. And
That's crazy.
And I send them out like to my publishing company. But it's hard because you write stuff. Like, I'm not the type of person in Nashville, moving here, everybody thinks, oh, you moved here for music. Like, I actually moved here to get away from it. So,
Well, how'd that work?
well, because I don't know, I have no connections here in Nashville. I have
Sure.
I have a bass player, 2 bass players actually, 2 are former bass players, and our old drummer that live here. And I mean, I see them periodically, great guys, but I'm not in the circuit. They're touring musicians, so they're the drummer, one of the bass players and the drummer are out. They go fly off every weekend to wherever they're needed for this girl that they perform with, and they're like, we're playing to empty venues. You know, said he was out in Chico, California last weekend, and he's like, yeah, we played for the bartenders.
Wow.
And stuff, and they flew them out there to do it, and he's just like, yeah, I'm making good money, but I'm just playing to an empty room. So
so weird.
But that's the life that, you know, that they like, and I can never do that. Because I think as a musician, you feed off of the energy of the crowd. It's kind of like in a workout class, you know,
yeah.
it's the class dictates how hard I push, you know, usually. So, or who I'm working out with, you know. So, yeah, so then I got back and I just started writing. And, you know, that's a tough world too, because you're just constantly getting rejected, or, you know, you'll get placements and stuff like that. And, but most of the stuff is like, I don't know, I was always very protective of what I create, because I was like, I'm a musician, I don't want to give these songs away.
Right.
But at the same time, then I go, well, I don't want to perform them either. So, like, what am I going to do with it? Why am I doing this? So, because I love playing music, and I love writing music, but I just don't like performing it anymore.
Yeah.
So, and I needed to get away from, because it started to feel like it was so fun when I first started doing it, and then now it feels like work.
Yeah.
Now it's like, okay, this isn't, I'm working for a living now for the first time.
Yeah.
You know, so yeah.
You turn your passions into a paycheck. There's
Yeah.
usually an exchange of happiness sometimes in that.
Yeah, and that's the thing. I was just miserable doing it. I dreaded. I had a studio over in Bridgeport, Connecticut, and I would dread going over there. And then I'd get over there, and you know, the creative life of writing and stuff is so arduous. Is you're just, you know, people think, oh, he's a good songwriter, and they're like, no, he just like found a couple of good nuggets here along the way. So 99% of the stuff that you create is just pure garbage.
Yeah.
And you're sitting there, everything.
But you have to get through all those
You
to
do,
find the good
and
ones.
the good ones can get through it, and then there's people that just kind of get lucky and find a few here and there. Because you can see it with bands, you see it with records. Like, I went to Weezer last night. That Blue album is one of my absolute favorite albums.
Yep.
They're I don't want to diss them, but they're just dorks. You know, they're just absolutely
They are.
such dorks.
I think they know that about themselves.
They
though.
do, and he's he's the glasses and everything. It looks like a serial killer, and I'm like, but he's like probably the nicest guy on the planet, you know. And I mean, he came out in a Star Trek outfit last night. But they played that whole Blue album, top to bottom, and you look at bands like that were able to create an album that from top to bottom was just every track was good, and then they'll put out one that's like you got like one listenable song on it.
Yeah.
And it's weird because they found they were in the zone for a minute and they capitalized on it, and then so that's the hard. I think the expectation of like trying to create stuff that is, you know, because if you create a few things that were great that did well, and then everything should be up to that level, and it's just not.
It's not.
No. So I don't know. I just that's pretty much what happened to me. Is I just stopped enjoying it.
Sure. I think that's the story of a lot of musicians.
Yeah.
I have similar stories based on hobbies that I've turned into paychecks, and I'm like, and now I don't do those things anymore.
Right.
And it bums me out because I miss those things.
I miss the things too,
In
but then
retrospect, yeah.
every time you pick it up, like something. I actually got away from the guitar altogether because that's what I wrote everything on, and just started playing the piano.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm atypical stuff. Like I'm playing the Baptist hymnal.
Yeah.
I'm playing piano stuff that just kind of, it's musical, but it doesn't remind me of what I used to do.
It's funny to me because what you're subtly going past all of the like guitar, drums, piano. Like I know very few people that can play all the things.
Well, I've always told people like don't.
You're quite the prodigy,
I'm
Mark.
Jack of a lot and master of none. Like I can play. Like I can like, I'm not say I'm terrible, but I don't, like, being in Nashville too, you can go down to a street corner and find somebody to play circles around you. So
yeah.
Nashville's a very humbling musical environment.
Yeah.
Because you see the talent that's just roaming the streets, or is serving your food. Mm-hmm. So it's hard to get a big ego.
I used to play in the church band where I was from in Ohio, and I come down here and I have to audition. I'm like, what do you mean I got to audition? Like,
me.
there's 1,600 drummers that want to play, and they're all better than you.
Yeah, I don't know. Like, our music was it was not technical at all. It was just, so the musicians that we had, like a lot of great musicians wouldn't want to play that kind of music. Mm-hmm. We didn't need like a Berkeley guy to come in to play. We just needed guys that could play and had good stage presence.
Yeah.
Because but I don't know. I was always very critical of our live performance. I would never do anything that would to the detriment of the sound. Mm-hmm. I'm not gonna run around and lose my breath.
Yeah.
And not be able to sing.
Yeah.
Like, that's another thing. When you're like too critical that way, it's hard to enjoy it. Something goes wrong, and I'm like,
Can't get it out of your brain.
no, no.
So give us the transition. We go from you're still writing now?
I have not written in. Let's see. We opened BFT in a little over a year ago, so I bought it about 2 years. So it's been about 2 years.
Okay.
Yeah.
So and now you're full into BFT. Let's talk about what the parallels are for you. Like, what did you learn from all those years of touring in the highs and lows of? And that's entrepreneurship. You were in a band.
Yeah.
It is a business.
I didn't know that at the time.
Yeah. But
That
what
was
did
a
you
bad
learn?
Mistake.
Yeah.
What did you learn that you're applying at BFT for better or for worse?
It's funny because the first year of BFT, I feel like I made a lot of the same mistakes that I made then. Just like, overlooking things and thinking that things will just work out.
Yeah.
Or not paying enough attention to things that I should have paid more attention to. Because, hiring employees is a hard thing to do. It's when we opened, it was literally, speaking of like, you audition with 1,600
Other drummers.
for a job. I'm like, I just need 6 people.
Yeah.
Like, I just need 6 heartbeats. And
But that's like so different post-COVID.
yeah.
It's like, where's everybody making a living from now?
Coffee shops.
Well, and how is
Yeah.
everybody affording to, like, I'm asking you to come join my gym.
Yeah.
But I can't. The people that are passing up what I think is good money for this type of job, they're obviously getting it somewhere.
Yeah. I don't know.
Because I don't know where it is.
I don't either.
But it's also, I think, this is a transitional job for a lot of people, unless there's a career side to it.
Yeah.
And that's, for me, that's what I'm trying to offer here is, I want this thing to grow. I want to develop the whole city of Nashville with this. But it's all dependent on BFT Brentwood.
Yep.
I have to, and that's, I'd rather now be making these mistakes and learning this business with one studio than trying to do it with 7.
Sure. Absolutely.
So, and, being a franchise, you learn the ups and downs of that too.
Mm-hmm.
You think, well, and we're a new franchise too, so they are a new franchise. So the fact that it's new, a lot, like my initial ignorance was, ooh, this is the ground floor. And you realize that the ground floor is actually the basement and
Yes.
under every,
Yeah.
you're like, and so all the things that I thought were going to be a good thing turned out to be not so good because you realize that even though this is a franchise, you are building this. This is your studio, and the success of this is going to come from what you do, not from what they do. Even though you're paying franchise fees, it's on your back.
Yep.
Yeah, for sure. That is, well, I want to press into the franchising.
Okay.
Do you, if you had it to do again, would you do that? Would you pick the same thing? Do you still feel as confident in the franchise you picked? Because you were a trainer before BFT.
So I don't know if I talked to you all about it, but I've had so many injuries, and I broke a few bones in my lumbar spine back in, well, who knows when, but it was revealed to me in 2016 when I was just having debilitating back pain. I'd sneeze and that ruined me for the month. And I remember one particular time, Tucker, my youngest, just threw his pacifier, and I like lunged to grab it, and there's 4 weeks of and so I was like, something's going on here, and so I had an MRI and found out I had 4 fractures in my lumbar spine, and
Goodness.
and I don't know exactly where. There's everything starts when you find out you have an injury like that, and you don't remember it being like an incident where so it can be wear and tear, it can be a lot of stuff. But there's a funny, interesting story. I'll make it quick for you, but it was I'd come back from doing something just like this on the road. This was back in, I don't know, 04. And I was in Fort Myers, Florida, and I came back from the radio station. We had a show at like an hour later. So I just came back to the bus, and the car pulled me up next to it, and I got off and opened the door, and I looked back down the hall, and our drummer was like, the whole back lounge was all mirrors behind the sofa and everything, and he's back there like primping his hair and doing all this stuff. So I crouched down like a tiger and was like crawling down the hallway. And then I got back to it, and I was just going to put my shoulder right into his back and drive him into the sofa.
Yeah.
And when I lunged, I jumped too high, and the door frame was really low on there.
Oh, no.
And my head, I don't know if you can see I've got 2 lines right through there that I hit right into that door frame, and I woke up in the front lounge with EMS all around me and blood, just towels everywhere, because your head bleeds like crazy. Yeah. And so
and him looking at you going, what were you doing?
No, he was outside talking to one of the EMS guys. He just thinks I hit my head. He didn't know what my intentions were. Yeah. Because I never made it. So anyway, I'm sitting there with and they got, ice and stitched it up, and they put the little things on. It was laid open. They just got it closed and said, well, we have a show. And I was like, well, I'm going to play the show. I was concussed big time.
I'm sure.
Yeah.
And we took that and had my guitar tech. He made a thing out of duct tape and put it over with some gauze and sandwiched it together up here. And then I put a skull cap on, which I never wore.
Yeah.
I was never cool enough for those.
Well, you were that night.
It was Fort Myers, Florida in the summer, so nobody was cool enough. So anyway, I played the show, and I had so many almost blackout moments. It was the heat of the lights, and all of a sudden, blood starts running down from it, and
Look at this guy's so hard. Look at him.
Yeah.
we wound up cutting it short because I was going down.
Yeah.
But anyway, that was thinking back, the impact that probably had on
All the way down your spine.
Yeah, that could have been one of them. I had the same thing happen with the liftgate of a car. That was my wife's fault. So that's why there's 2 scars, not just the one.
So that's not even a question.
But you want to talk about
legitimately my wife's fault.
You want to talk about it's a God moment, because for me, I'd always had hair, and that I had to shave my head. Before the show that night, I had to shave a horseshoe like this so that I could attach the duct tape, and then finished it off that night after I got it stitched up, and then I wound up meeting my wife a couple of weeks later, and she said the only thing that drew her to me at the time was the fact that I had no hair.
Really?
And the scar on my head.
Yeah. Wow.
So
Worked out.
For all those guys out there who
just
are looking for that love connection, maybe it's time to
crouch down.
shave that head.
Or just go run into a
And
door.
lunge into a door.
Yeah, that's right. Sorry, I went off. Where were we?
I don't know.
Yeah. Oh, we were talking. Oh, I was getting to the injury part of that. So
Yes.
that's what got me into fitness. Was I'd always worked out.
Yeah.
Like even on the road, I had equipment under the bus that we would work out with. But when that happened, I was like, I want to. The doctor told me, well, you're never going to squat, you're never going to deadlift, you're never going to do all these things. And I was like,
Whatever.
I don't know, dude. That doesn't sound
It's
good.
like a life I want to
Yeah,
live.
that's right. So I went in and just started getting any certification I could. Corrective exercises where I started because I wanted to do my own rehab, and I really kind of felt the when you go to PT, it kind of you go in there and you watch what I'm like. I'm in here I've had a spinal fusion, and I'm doing the same thing the guy in here's got with a rotator cuff.
Yep.
And I'm like, it's just kind of a prescriptive general thing. So, and there's a lot of great people out online that have so much good information. So I just started surfing through all that and started getting certifications in different things, and then I started training people after a year I started training people out of my house. So, and I really fell in love with like the programming side of that. I loved all of it. To answer your question about would I do this exact same thing, that's the only thing I really miss. Is there's obviously things that in a group fitness environment, there's things that I would change if I was training Terry
Sure.
by himself, or if I was training Roy, like if it was just a group of dudes, I don't think we'd be doing it exactly the same way. But as far as the group fitness overall, like when you're coaching a class of 36 people, this is the best programming that you can do in that environment, I think.
Yeah.
So yeah, I would.
Well, it's good. That's good. That's a great answer.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because I'm sure BFT's listening.
Yeah, they are.
Right there. Fine. We're gonna take a quick break, and then we're gonna bring Abby on.
jackhammer?
Yeah, and the jackhammer is gonna come back. So a quick break,
Unaccredited English and
Oh, there you go.
social studies.
and we're back. On that note, Mark's talking about why not to go to college.
There are reasons.
That's another podcast in and of
we can do
itself.
that. This would have to be weekly.
Today's episode.
Update.
And we have Abby. Introduce Abby for us, even though
Hey,
it's a Sunday.
everybody.
Do you want me to call you Abigail? Because for some
No.
reason your phone updated to Abigail.
No, some people call me Abigail.
Can you hear me when I do that?
Some people call me Abigail, but no, Abby for sure is most comfortable. I'm Abby.
What do you do here, Abby?
I am the head coach here, and then I do some managing things. Help Mark out with all his grand ideas.
She does a lot of managing things. She's she pretty much manages my unmanageable thoughts.
Oh, that's fair.
Yeah.
I have one of those.
It's really hard to keep up with.
Yeah, it's a lot. There's just a lot of ideas floating around. We had a conversation about it the other day. It's like, we've all been reading the EOS method.
Yeah, you have.
And that's
It's great.
It's the
Traction.
Well, but what are the two people called?
That's a Dremel.
Yeah,
They're cutting drywall. Takes me all the way back.
it's probably a light box.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah. But then
I love how you did. That was a light box.
Yeah.
I could tell.
Yeah,
that was the right amount of time.
yeah.
That was a
got
that
through
was a
it.
2-gain.
They're
light
doing
box.
That's oddly
We started
specific.
cutting in those quad boxes.
Yeah.
We'll be here for a minute.
Yeah.
Can you even hear that? Oh, you can't. Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
Just for reference on our unprofessional podcast, they're doing construction next door. We got them to stop jackhammering, but that doesn't mean they're going to not Dremel drywall.
It's like, what
Switched.
other loud tools do we have that we
Yes.
could use? Next thing they're going to have the shotgun nail.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
That's a whole other thing.
Put those in.
Yeah.
But this is great.
This is wonderful.
So we should stop talking or just.
No, we're going to keep going.
No, we're
Okay.
gonna keep rolling.
All right. Most unprofessional
Yeah.
Just a little
guest
buzz in the
and
background.
podcast.
It's totally great. No,
We have a bee problem.
There's a gnat.
just a big old bee. Is that the Abby? Is that the B and BFT that we hear?
Yeah. Surprise.
we have hornets in our wall.
It's so bad. This is a bad joke.
Just randomly start.
So
Too cheesy.
EOS. I was trying to figure out the two. You have the two different.
you have the integrator,
Yeah.
and you have the.
It's Dreamer.
Yeah.
it-
Well, it's called.
they've got a term
Yeah.
for it.
There's a
but
term
yeah.
for it, and so she's the integrator.
Integrator.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And half of
Visionary.
Visionary.
Yeah,
There you go.
that's it.
Yeah.
So
Which sounds so much more epic than
and
integrator, and I feel
don't-
bad
Yeah.
about that.
I really, because there's some true visionaries in this world, and I don't want it to be confused with that. But just like you have people that are she's way more organized than me, so
Yeah.
she can kind of take I'll recognize that like all these things, and she has a system or a way to execute.
Put them into play.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Where I would sit there and just kind of the wheels would just keep spinning, and then there would never be an action. So
Or you're like me, which Roy's keeps me in check for this, and I would like to think that I do keep you in check on some of this too, but where I will, I am motivated by the next big thing, always the next big thing. Like, what's the next thing we can do? What's the next thing? What's the next thing? As opposed to, maybe we should finish that thing that we started.
well,
we should
and
go back
I
there and
think
do that thing.
That's been a thing for me here.
Yeah.
In recognizing that I want to be at number 2. I want to be at number 3. I want to be at all these things. But until number 1 becomes what it needs to become, number 2 and number 3 can't happen. So I've had to kind of go back and do exactly that.
Roy's trying to find the bee. He's swatting at it over there.
Can y'all look on the other wall at least?
If you get smacked, Abby, it's because the bee landed on you.
Yes.
And I do want to point out
Watch
that
out for me.
wall, the construction of that wall
Uh-huh.
has 3 layers of quiet rock.
Are you
and
sure it's 3? Sounds to me like 2.
That's about 2. Oh, maybe it's on our side. Or it's just not right there where he's working.
There's one space
That's
Yeah.
for sure true.
where they did one layer, and it's right there.
Anyway,
So, Abby, this is your time to shine here.
Yeah.
What's it like working with this visionary?
this philosopher.
In all of his deep-seated wisdom that clearly is pulling out of his face in the way of gray
Yeah.
gray beard hairs.
Yeah, honestly, I love it so much. It is a lot to, I think, because he's a visionary. Always ideas, like every day. It's I don't know, like 10 minutes of 10 things, like thing after thing that's on his mind. And then, so I live off of lists and notes. And if he's talking to me, I don't have my phone with me, I'm writing on a Post-it note, and then I'll take the Post-it note, add it to my to-do list on my phone, and then I create a system for how I'm going to keep up with it. But it is worth it, and I love it. And I actually have a background in teaching. I was a first grade teacher for 4 years, and that was never really my passion, but I couldn't do this, and I wouldn't be good at this if I hadn't done that.
Sure.
So,
So what you're saying is Mark is like a first grader.
That's what I
That's what I just heard. Like, this works so well because I spent 4 years.
with first grade 6-year-olds.
with children.
Yeah. Yeah, no, just the like having a system in place is everything
Yeah.
to get anything done. And then you have to be able to multitask and take care of multiple things at once and stay organized. So I wouldn't say that was a strong suit of mine before. And going into this, so I did 4 years teaching, switched to doing this. This was kind of always what I wanted to do, but just didn't think I had the tools or maybe the maturity to do it before now.
yeah.
Or in my mind, it was like, I'm going to run my own business. And the business side, I didn't think I was ready for. So teaching, I feel like really prepared me for this. But when I switched to this, I didn't realize how much teaching would play
Transferable,
into it. Yes,
yeah.
how many valuable skills I learned that would help me now. So yeah, I started here in January, I think the end of January, and I just saw things that I felt like could make better. It just helped with that kind of system thing and organization thing. So I just kind of dived in, and I quit my career to do this. So I was like, I'm just gonna dive in.
You're
Like,
all
I'm-
in, yeah.
I'm
All
all
in.
in. Yeah. It's just a part-time job. Like, I think I was like starting out with 10 classes a week maybe. But I was like, well, this is what I'm doing. So I'm just going to work really hard and do the best I can and help out wherever I can. And then that just eventually led to now where I'm doing more manager things and head coach
That
stuff.
sounds like work ethic.
Yeah, I'll give that credit to my dad.
As I'm looking at my son who's working the camera right now. You're doing
Yeah,
great.
good job.
You're doing real good. I'm proud of you. So when you get way in space, you're gonna need this microphone for this, but do you just hand him, just say, here, go color that,
Yeah.
and calm down?
Yeah.
Here's some crayons.
Well,
Go
we
work
don't
up.
have a like we'll meet and go through things, and I like because one thing that I've learned is that I don't always have the best idea.
Yeah.
You think you do for so long because it's just your way. It's your way of thinking and the way you see things. And as this is unfolding, having someone who has Abby's experience, but also just like you said, a work ethic. It's not. It's like I don't have to tell her to do 90% of the things because she
She's
just
doing it.
instinctually knows it needs to be done.
Sure.
So I'm going to do it, and that's unusual for that in my vast
Very
experience
unusual.
in vast experience in business. That's been unusual in the last 16 months because we've had nothing but turnover, and because like I said, we were just trying to find people to fill slots, and nothing against the people that filled the spots. It's just as you grow, you like I really thought we'd start having like a lot more people just showing up to like, hey, here's my resume. I'm a trainer. I've got this certification. I need a job.
Right.
I don't know if that's universal or if that's BFT, but it's just not happening. So literally, Abby just fell from the heavens because honestly, it was like I needed somebody that had all of her skill.
Sure.
And you want the biggest thing I think I learned, not just your way, but you need people that are good at things that you're not good at, and recognizing the things that you're good
100%.
at. Like I don't need to hire someone that can do the same things that I can do.
Yeah.
Because if I could, then I didn't need to hire anyone, or I just unless there was just a ton of work to do. But having a good core of people that have their own ideas, their own ways of doing things that are complementary is the most important. So that's why when Abby came in, I was just like, there was nothing I didn't feel like I could put on her that she couldn't handle and that she wouldn't just bring to the table.
Yeah, I'm interested in, and Roy, I want you to speak to this too, but Abby, this is different for me. I know what I did to my kids in order to put work ethic in them, and I love when they go into places like my two older boys ran a lawn mowing landscaping business from 10 and 11 years old all the way up till they hit their 20s. So when they go and work it, I've got one son who's in a transition, but he's working at Old Navy. He's like, Dad, this is the easiest job on the planet.
Yeah.
So he's getting recognized for this and recognized for that, and they want to make him a manager and all these other things. So I know that I had to muscle through that with those kids from 10 until about 16 before they really got it. Before they really understood that, oh, I can buy anything I want. Oh, I can buy a car. My friends don't have cars. So what is it that you said your dad's the reason for your work ethic? So how did he do it?
Well, I'd say it's a combination of the way I was raised and then teaching, because just real quick, you can't not have a work ethic and be a teacher.
Sure, sure.
It's the hardest job in the world, I would say.
Well, and be a good teacher.
Yeah, a good teacher.
Good teacher.
That's true.
Yeah, good point. Good
Yeah,
point.
for sure. But to give my dad and just the way I was raised, I just remember him always telling us, you just work hard and do the best that you can do, and it will be recognized. Especially I remember in sports, which also I think transfers to life a lot. Valuable things you learn as a kid doing sports.
For sure.
But I remember always in sports, I played soccer and track, and my dad would just tell me, you might not be the most skilled player out there in the field, but if your coach sees that you work the whole time and you won't stop, and you're ready to play, then you're going to get put in.
Yeah.
And so I remember him literally telling me, just go stand by him. If you want to be in, go stand by the coach. Let him know you're ready. And then in practice, don't half-ass it. Go all the way and just work hard. If it comes to running, you can run, be front of the line,
Yeah.
So I think those things just were instilled that made me kind of just conditioned. It's just the way I do stuff. Like, I don't really know how else to do it. It's just, you see a need, you meet it, you gotta work. You know, if you don't feel like doing something, that's where the discipline comes in, and you just do it anyways because that's what makes the world go round.
Yeah, 100%.
So yeah, those are the things that stand out, I guess. And then also kind of, I think my family was very religious, and from my dad's, I guess, teaching or point of view, it was on it also like morally right to do a good job and be a blessing too. That was another thing he was always telling us: be a blessing. If we went over to a friend's house to stay the night, be a blessing. Like, basically, like,
leave it better than you found it.
Yeah, like help the parents out, or just like be a good kid. Like, there's a lot of pressure too as a kid. Like, I won't like there's that side of it too that goes into adulthood, pressure I put on myself. But so I think more valuable than it was hurtful for sure. So yeah, always being a blessing. That was another thing I remember him always saying, and just like being willing to help where needed.
Yeah, Roy, your work ethic, it comes from what? What part of in your life do you feel like you just got it where you had to outwork the next guy? Because Roy, I have not met anybody on this planet who works harder than me, and Roy does by 10 times.
It's 9. Solid 9.
Solid 9.
Still, like,
No, my parents separated when I was a kid, like really young. And then my mom, had a minimum wage job. And back when I was growing up, minimum wage was legit, like no money, and had to work like 3 jobs, and, just watching that as you grow up. And, then getting back around my dad when I got a little older, and he was an entrepreneur. He had retired from the police force, like, I forgot how old he was, but anyway, and then started a business and just ran that thing. And then he just, and his motto was, if you don't work, you don't eat. And, growing up, pretty low income, as I did, that was a true statement. It's not a catchphrase or a cool Instagram reel. That was legit. If you didn't work,
Some
you weren't
would say
eating.
that's part of the American dream.
It is the American dream.
Right.
And to be honest, probably growing up, I don't think I had a work ethic. I know that may shock you, but like, when I was probably 21, now I would work. I would do hard ass jobs. Like, I worked at Jack Daniels and did landscaping and stuff like that. But the hustle part of it, where it's, hardest worker in the room, nobody's going to outwork me, chip on your shoulder kind of thing, probably wasn't until I was like 21.
Yeah.
And moved to Nashville for the first time. And there was no safety nets. It's like, well, literally the whole, if you don't work, you don't eat. I remember paying the bills, and I got $30 for gas and groceries for the week. Yeah, that's a lot of Roman noodles, or ramen noodles, or whatever he calls things.
The best.
Yeah. Especially then. They were so tasty.
They were.
Yeah. But no, I mean, that's it. And I think, I hope that's not lost on the next generation. You see, like, I don't know how old you are, but.
I'm 27.
Okay. And, your kids, they're all hard-ass workers, every one of them. And, that's, I've got some people that work for me that are younger, and younger than me by far. And they're hard-ass workers. So that kind of lets you know those are still out there.
Yeah.
They are, and that's what I was saying about Abby, is that I've met people that are in between us, like 40, that don't have this. It's a personality trait. It's not you either have it or you don't. And I think anybody can.
It can be developed.
Be developed,
Yeah.
but
You can
there has to be a
choose.
catalyst for
Yeah.
it. Your case, it was
A catalyst, yes.
Your case was the way you grew up.
Yeah.
And most people in today's age that grew up that way, they have your reaction
Or the
or
total
the
opposite.
And they're a victim of the
Yep.
of the whole thing. It's like, and so hearing your story like that's that should remind everybody in America that that's why we live here, and that's why this place is the best place in the world, because
100%.
you can grow up with nothing and have everything. And you've heard all the adages of how generational wealth is squandered because, you know, my parents have money, they pass it down to me, I blow it all, but I have a good life. My kids grow up with nothing, and then the cycle starts over again.
Yeah, absolutely.
And
because it's not appreciated.
No,
because you don't realize what it took for them to, you know, make and save.
Yeah.
Well, and a lot of people use the fouled philosophy of I was broke before I can be broke again.
Yeah, screw that.
Yeah.
No. But what they're wrong
Were
is
you?
you were broke before and now you have money, but you've never had money and been broke.
Yeah.
So it's very much a different, like when you had stuff, to not have it again is much harder than to not have anything. And then, so I always have to make Seinfeld references and Nick Saban quotes in everything. So
Roll Tide.
yeah. So it's the two best, because that's the difference in the world right now. You can either be a George Costanza or you can be a Nick Saban.
Yep.
And Nick Saban always used to tell, and he tells all of the players that, you know, if you are going to shine shoes, you be the best damn shoe shiner there is.
Yep.
And that's what Abby is. That's what it's just like. It can be organizing the kettlebells.
They're gonna be perfect.
Most people just be like, you know, and you get it right. You do it right. Whatever it is, you do it right. Doesn't matter if it's mopping the floor or, you know, if you're a CEO of a company, just be the best one. Then there's the George Costanza approach that's like, you just got to do enough to not get fired.
Right.
And that's what you don't want to show off, because then you start drawing attention to yourself.
Yeah, I hate that mentality.
Yeah, but that's unfortunately that's where
Yeah.
that's what I've seen over the last year, and so that's why when you meet the Abbeys of the world, you hang on to them.
Sure.
And you want to find a way to grow. Like that's what I felt like I was just looking for trainers. I need trainers, and then I realized I need people.
Mm-hmm.
We can make good trainers. We can make good, but you can't make good people.
It's true.
And so that's
When that's I don't know if I told you this, but it was around that same time. Was it last week?
Mm-hmm.
I was telling somebody else that works for me. I said, you know, don't hire for the job. It doesn't matter. You can teach anybody to do anything outside of heart surgery. That's different. Hire off your core values. If
Sure.
they fall within your core values, hard work ethic, we put out the best product, customer service number one, we teach all the other stuff.
Mm-hmm.
But if they get this and they know this is the mayonnaise and the mustard we're trying to stay between.
well, and that's I think I asked you when we were talking about it the other day. I think I asked you if I said, "Do you know what your core values are?" And if you don't, and that's where I think if you have core values that aren't transcendent to everything that you do, that if you have your core values for work, at church, or as a father, or as whatever,
Yeah, sure.
if they're compartmentalized like that, then that can be troubling. But if it's not, if you you want the same thing with that. That's where you talk about people. You talk about hiring based off of your core values, identifying what that is, and then go, okay, well, because when you're hiring for this job, you're going to have tons of different walks of life come in here. But if they're and I've noticed now that it's good because I do have a good core group of people now. So I feel like I haven't seen you in a little bit. You doing okay back there?
I've got the cold shoulder.
Yeah, you did.
It's a little cold
I
back
told
here.
you I was going to pay attention
Yeah.
to Roy for a minute.
You notice he didn't turn his head, he shifted his whole hips.
He did. He did it.
Mobility's bad on this side.
Oh, what was I even saying?
Core
No,
values.
it's about core values. Like, it shouldn't be separated between, okay, my job, this is how we're going to do things. But at home, there is no wiggle room. This is the process.
Right.
Yeah.
We do little things, big things, the exact same way. They all get the same attention.
Yeah.
Well, and now I think as I've added Abby and a lot of the other trainers that we've hired off of that now, and I don't feel like we're desperately hiring people. And when you hire that way, you're never going to have like a mass exodus of just people that
No.
just like, because I feel like that's part of the work ethic side.
Sure.
You know, yeah, Abby, you know, if this doesn't grow into what wanted to, you know, obviously people move on, but I feel like because they're loyal people and that, you know, I don't know, I feel like they'll take care of you.
I 100%
Sure.
agree with that. Yeah. Abby, I got a question for you as we try to land this plane.
Yes.
And I'm basing this off of how I've known. That was your warning.
It's like, how are we going to wrap this up?
How are we going to wrap this up? Yeah, I think it's a conversation that can go on forever. But the people part of business is something I really love. I love the team building. I love getting the group tied in together. And when I don't have that, I feel disconnected. When I feel disconnected, I get buried under pressure and anxiety, right? And then you forget you can delegate. And I say all that to say you're in a very important spot. When someone like Mark or myself or Roy finds a person like you, we want to build everything around that. The company culture, the leadership. You make that brand move in the right direction to where we can have confidence to go out and do what we do best, which is plan and vision and kill the next thing and bring it back. So what does that feel like to you? Does it feel like pressure? Does that feel like something you can be proud of? Or do you feel ill-equipped? Or does it excite you?
Can I say all of
Yes.
those?
Yeah, because I kind of knew that was the answer.
Yeah. I think the pressure comes from myself.
Sure.
Because I want to make sure that I am doing a good job, but I think in therapy, I'm trying to defer the difference of, do I believe I'm doing a good job? Yes. It's needing whoever I'm working for to
Validate it.
and to let me know that what I'm doing is right, like I'm on the right track. Because I know I'm going to work hard.
You don't work hard in the wrong direction.
Yes,
Exactly.
yeah, or not be doing what they want, or doing it a little different than what they had in mind. And I am so thankful for Mark because I feel like I can communicate with him really well. And if there's anything I'm not sure about, I just say, hey, is this what you want, or am I doing this right? And he's really good at being open and communicating. But yeah, it excites me a lot because I love a challenge. I love to something I can progress in and help build. So yeah, it's all of those things
All the
for
things.
sure. And I also want to say, your words are so kind about my work ethic and everything, but
Validated.
yeah.
On camera. So you can
Yeah.
watch. So whenever you need it again, you can always come back and watch the episode.
So if there's
It's
a job
evergreen.
review, go, before we start, watch this.
Yeah, right. Yeah. So thank you. But I will say that I think I just got into BFT at the perfect time. They needed somebody and I needed somebody. And I really think it was like
Providential.
Providential. I prayed specifically for this. And I can't imagine a better gym that I could have started with community-wise that matches my passions for health and wellness and the type of training that I believe in. But he is right. The team we have now is so good. And like I said, I have 4 years of teaching experience and started this in January. So I have skills that help me in this manager role. But these coaches, I've learned so much from. Our team is super solid now, and they are each also so.
Boy, you're just stacking up the attributes as a leader.
Yes, she is.
She's like, that I learned from.
Yeah.
That's humility. That's great.
I
Yeah.
truly could say something about each of the coaches, and
Yeah.
we just do have a really good team. So
I love that.
And I feel the same way. Like, I mean, Abby's, what are you, 19 years younger than me? and you would never know.
Math.
because-
how old are you?
Let's do the math.
47.
You're old.
20. I'm 27. So it's 20.
But I'm assuming you're going to have a birthday.
Yeah, before you. So 19.
We're going to go with 19.
19, 4 weeks.
Well, I just, you meet people like that, and I have, we have a couple of members that I'm friends with that are well younger than me, but they're, you just good people.
Sure.
And that again goes back to the people part of it. You can't, like Roy said, hire for a job. You have to hire a person that is capable of doing the job. And
Win a character match,
yeah, well, and with everybody, like she said, like everybody has their strong suits. They have different specialties, so you can learn something from everybody in here. But the big thing, just to kind of hit on BFT for a second, on where BFT sits in the fitness world, and the hard part about the educational side with it. And we were talking about this morning, but one of the things that you have to, like, we're in group fitness. So people hear group fitness, I mean, immediately guys tend to go straight to Zumba class. It's like they're not thinking about barbells and stuff. They hear group fitness and almost immediately they're like, well, that's not for me.
Right.
Because they don't, you look at some of the other ones, they're 80% female driven. Well, in the educational side to this is that this is a program-based workout. So we're in block schedules with periodization and progression. None of the other ones do that. But you have to so just telling people that, and they're going, oh, that's interesting, but I don't really care.
Sure.
So what's going to make you care about that, to where I want to actually achieve some goals by what I'm doing. I go to the gym every day. I work out. That's all I care about. I don't want to think. I just want to go work out, burn my calories, and go on. But if you've been in fitness long enough, that there's a law of diminishing return with that. Your body adapts to what you're doing, and if there's no progressive stimulus to it, then
you spin your wheels.
Yeah, you're just working out. You're gonna progressively put on 5 pounds a year and just get older. And
sure,
so getting people to, because we're about to enter an 8-week challenge to end the year, and we were discussing whether we wanted to participate as a studio this year, because the last one didn't go that well, and we want to get interest. We want people to really be excited about doing it, and so we have to really pump that up. Well, but people have to value what the 8-week challenge brings them. So, like, if you're coming to the gym and this is all I'm committed to as far as my health and wellness, an 8-week challenge is not for you. But if you're going to dive into the nutritional side of it and the personal coaching that you get from it, and then it's worth it.
Sure.
It's worth it to participate. But I think that's where educationally we are with BFT, is getting people to understand the value of, there's all these different places you could go to do it, but this is really the only place that you're going to get from here to here instead of just here.
Sure.
And so that's been a struggle. It's been a real struggle to get people to care. Just get people to say, I want more than what I've been getting.
Well, and I think that's what I like about coming here, and I've said it time and time again, and I'm not just saying that because you're a happy marketing member of Nashville Fit Magazine. Sure. No, I just appreciate the approach. Like, I like coming in here because I don't do the same thing every time. And when I'm here and you're like, I'm pushing myself harder because you're there.
Right.
And you're like, and I know you're not going to let me screw it.
Yeah.
Because I want to show off. So.
Yeah, sure. But I never in a million years, if you had told me, this is 2024, if you told me in 2022 that I'd be coming to a group fitness class every day and putting on muscle and losing body fat, I would probably said you were crazy, because
I want you to tell everybody how much muscle you put on and what body fat you're sitting at, because you told me a couple weeks ago and I was mind blown.
Yeah. So we used the eVolt machine, and when I first got it in, I did my scan before I even brought it here, and I weighed 219 pounds and I was 17.8% body fat.
Which is still pretty good.
Well, I mean, but I was 45 at the time.
Yeah.
And I'm 47 now.
I love he looked at her.
Yeah, but I couldn't remember. I was like, did I turn 46 or did I turn 47? I just said it, but
let me get my license out.
I couldn't remember. It was just a couple of weeks ago. So yeah, I was at 17.8, I think, and 219, and in 1 year, and we'll say 54 weeks, I went from 219 pounds to 238 pounds. And my body fat went from 17.8 to 13.4.
That's insane.
So
that's a huge.
That's a crazy span.
That's a big move.
And what I'm saying is, some people would be like, "Oh, you put on weight? Like, who wants to put on
Well,
weight?
that's a lot of people, but that's broken.
Sure,
Yeah.
but it's not. It's mainstream.
Yeah.
And we're trying. Well, that's the battle you're fighting. Is
Yeah.
that, like, we had people that put on weight the first couple of months and they were building muscle and losing fat, but they were concerned about
The weight.
the scale. So I mean, just for me, I went from working out in my garage by myself for 2 hours at a time, where I would just go in and absolutely murder my body to where I couldn't walk for 3 days.
Sure.
And BFT keeps me from overtraining and doing stuff like that I don't need to do, because I think I told you before, the worst day for me in the gym is the day that I feel good, because I'll just go in and wreck it all and then not be able to do anything for 2 weeks. So if I just am always hurting, I don't ever,
It's always a little sore.
yeah, just always a little sore to just keep myself in check. But the point is, after a year of doing, and I've done 280 something workouts here, I've gained muscle. So all that hard 2 hours of lifting heavy and not doing any cardio, I get on the salt bike for like 3 or 4 minutes at the very end of my workout, and that was my cardio. I'd also push the sled up and down the driveway on a Saturday.
Yeah.
But that was it. So I've been able to preserve and build muscle and lose body fat. So I'm still getting, and I bet I'm upside down. I probably am doing 50-50 now, conditioning and strength. And I've built muscle and lost body fat. So I mean, to me, it's perfect. And the good thing is I can keep doing it. I don't care if I get up to 280. If my body fat keeps going down, I'm perfectly fine with it. But my point is, I can keep doing this, because every time we have a block of training, it resets back to, so it's almost a deload. It's not called a deload, but in a reality, that's what it is. You're getting a 2-week period where the intensity drops.
Right.
And then it builds back up.
Right.
So I'm able to, I just adjust my numbers and keep going up, kind of like the 5-3-1 program. You did that for years, but I make more progress doing it in here than I did at home.
That's funny. Oh, that's really cool.
Yeah.
I think it's an amazing thing. I love the training method. But I want to, Abby, I want to go to you on this. You're gonna take us home. I want you to give us, the plane's gonna.
Okay.
Tell everybody the BFT pitch. This is your chance. Look into one of those cameras,
Okay.
and call that community in, and tell them what they can come and expect.
Yeah. Man, well, like I said, I love BFT, and it is everything that I could have wanted and more in a gym to work for. And then also, I tell everybody, if I wasn't working here, I would be training here, because it is so fun. The community is amazing. And like Mark said, I have never pushed myself in the right ways as much as I have since I've joined here. And I'm getting so much stronger, and I'm hitting 5-rep maxes that I never did before. And I'm seeing changes in my body. And my goal has always just been be stronger. And I'm doing that. So I would say if you come here, you're going to get community, you're going to be motivated, you're going to feel welcomed, and you're going to feel like you fit right in, no matter if you just started or if you've been doing this forever, if you are 70 years old or if you are 14, I think is our lowest age
14.
we have. Yeah. So on all those levels, it's going to feel really good to be here. But then just with the programming, like he said, it's strength focused, and we know the benefits of strength training, and for longevity, everyday life, it's the most valuable way of training that you can do. And our focus is on strength, and then our cardio is just to condition us for our strength. So everything is focused around that, and then it's broken in 9-week blocks, progressively and purposefully, intentionally, and you will never be doing the same thing, so you won't plateau. It is for everybody, whether your goal is to just move your body more, burn fat, build muscle like Mark did, or if you want to just condition for high rocks, we're doing that now.
Yeah.
Yeah, so we're actually a High Rocks affiliate. don't know if you knew that, but
I did. Yeah.
Yeah,
Mark just told me
so-
that, 2 weeks ago, but yeah. That's
yeah.
awesome.
So all kinds of things that you can train for. It's just a place for everybody. And like Mark said, I think it's the best group fitness program-wise that you can get out there, at least from what I've seen. So
Yeah.
come to BFT. I'll be here.
There it is.
Mark
There
will
it is.
be here.
Abby's here, so you might as well go.
That's what-
It's the
Well,
best.
we appreciate you guys being on the podcast, and thanks for sharing your story. Those stories interwoven with the highs and lows of being an entrepreneur and what that takes is you're helping other entrepreneurs skip some steps and get out of some pain, and that's really important. So we appreciate that.
I think people also, like, for me, I think it was bad to, like, I didn't really think I ever would own a business, because it just seemed like a daunting task. Like,
Sure.
And I didn't go to business school. I don't have any of, like, the requirements to do it. So I can tell you, if I can do it, anyone can do it, because it just takes a leap of faith, and it takes having confidence in yourself. And then back to what we talked about for the majority of this part was just finding good people that complement you and that can, execute.
Right. I love it. I appreciate it again. So thank you guys. Roy, you want to take us out?
Bye, Roy.
Bye, Roy.
Thanks again for tuning in to the Ground Up Podcast. Here live from the BFT in
BFD Studios.
That has a good ring
in
to it.
Brentwood, Tennessee. Now back to our drilling next door.